Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. We are going to do an angel reading today, so it's just guided, and they wanted me very specifically to do angel message reading. So I pulled like my 3 angel decks out, and I'm going to do an angel reading and see what messages we get. And as I'm saying that, I can almost feel their excitement. Like the angels are like, they remind me of like right now, they don't normally feel like this. They remind me right now of like these little kids who are just like really excited and stuff. So I'm really curious to see what they say. I was actually feeling like doing a reading, and I was thinking I was going to do the October reading, and I got like very specifically to do an angel reading with angel messages. So, all right, which deck are we pulling from first? All right, I'm just going to go straight into it. We're just going to pull some cards and see what the angels have to say for us. Okay, so we have look for a sign and listen to your intuition on the bottom. And I love this also because we have helpful people underneath. So what they're saying is a lot of you guys are getting support from the other side. It might not be as obvious as it used to be. So a lot of times when you're coming into your newer gifts or you have the awareness to your gifts. All right, hold on, because I'm getting like multiple messages with this. Okay, so for me personally, I've had gifts since I was a little kid. Now when I reflect back, I can see this. And funny enough, I was just talking to somebody the other day about this, and I literally was like a few years ago going into spiritual awakening groups and being guided to go into them and ask specific questions. And I still did not have the awareness that when I kept on saying like they were guiding me, I still didn't have the awareness that spirit was guiding me to do them. I still didn't even have the conscious awareness that I was even doing readings, even though I wasn't pulling cards and I was giving messages. And then it only clicked, like a few years later and stuff like that. So for the people who have had gifts their whole lives, once you have the awareness to them, a lot of times we get scared of them, or then we start, because we do them so naturally, now we have the awareness to them, the ego kind of comes and takes over a little bit, and we get into kind of fear mode. So a lot of times when spirit is talking to us, whether it's angels, spirit guides, whoever you're connecting with, whatever energies you're connecting with, right? It doesn't matter which ones. You can tell. It doesn't matter which ones, because I keep getting somebody's like, how do you know which ones? Which one? It doesn't matter. You'll know when you're supposed to know. I'm just leaving it at that. We're leaving it pretty simple today. Once you have the awareness, like I said, the ego kind of takes over. So a lot of times they will come in very loud, or they'll come in very like where you can definitely tell the difference. This is not my own thought. This is whatever. So this way, you're getting messages. Lately, a lot of the light workers have been getting different upgrades and stuff like that. Those a lot of times take a little while for your body and your energy to kind of understand it, for the ego kind of to connect with the soul energy to understand it. It's like a computer, like the program changes. So like the computer needs to now use the old coding with the new coding, and it's like it takes time to get used to, whatever, right? So it's the same thing. So what they're saying is you might not see them as active in the forefront where you hear them. You might not see them as active where it's very obvious they're giving you energy or sending you messages, but it doesn't mean they're not there. They're still there as much, maybe even more than they were, but they're letting you take the lead on stuff because you're needing to take the lead on stuff, and they don't want you to depend on them. So they're guiding you, they're giving you signs, they're giving you messages along the way, but just because they're not as active or loud doesn't mean they're not there. They're like, we are still here. Hello, we are still here. I will tell you, as I'm saying this, I have this has been happening to me too. Like when people come in the shop, I give messages. That none of that's really changed, but that's because I'm supposed to give people messages. When I'm doing readings, the way they come in is a little bit different sometimes. That's changed, but when it comes to myself, like they definitely have not been as active. Like my mom hasn't really come through a lot. The last time I remember her coming through, I was just going through a really difficult time, but she used to pop in a lot more, like obviously and stuff. So just because they're not showing themselves to you doesn't mean they're not there. Okay. Like some of them are saying like, we have to be in the background because you need to go through this on your own, but you're not really going through it on your own. And you can always ask them for help, and they're always helping you anyway, but always ask them for help and they're there for you. Okay. With the look for a sign and trust your intuition, this is a pretty direct message, especially about your spiritual gifts. I get a few different things. It's like for some of you, like relationship wise, who are asking about it. For some of you, it's like career wise who are asking, or for some of you, it's your spiritual gifts. And it might be one or more of those. Like you're getting signs about them, and you intuitively know them, your ego is what's trying to stop you. So when you're don't be like, an attitude to yourself. Don't be like a fucking asshole to yourself. Like, be patient with yourself, because every time you're getting the signs and the intuitive nudges and things like that, you might have conflict with them. But what's going on is your ego is kind of going back to the old, and you're healing all that trauma from the past. So even though it might be annoying as fuck, where you're like, I don't know, I'm second guessing myself, or it's not fully clicking, that's okay. It's not supposed to. It will click for you when it's supposed to. You can't force it to. And we want to trust, because, it makes us feel more comfortable. But sometimes you're supposed to sit in the discomfort of the unknown until you get the answer, and realize you will always get the answer. So stop trying to force things, stop trying to control things, stop trying to do things like that, and sit in what you're supposed to be sitting in. There's a reason you're sitting in it right now. So if you're not trusting, if you're not fully there, you're not supposed to be. It doesn't mean what you want is not coming for you. Like, you are getting the signs, you are getting the guidance, you are trusting your intuition. You are. I am getting, for some people, you have taken a step back, or you feel like you've taken a step back. You might have been guided to take a step back and you just don't know it, because you need to see something. It almost feels like, for some of you, if you've taken a step back and you think, or you've taken a step back, kind of what they're saying is there was still some doubt, there was still some underlying insecurities, there was still something below the surface that was going on, and you needed it to move forward and then go backwards so you can learn something and see something different. So for some of you, it's learning how to not emotionally react or run away, or not to explode. For some of you, it's learning how to not give up just because of something like that. For some of you, it's needing to see how you need to stand in your power and stop tolerating people or jobs or things that are not worth your time, that are not valuable to you. Like, seeing that different. And they're popping this example for me. I'm going to tell you, because they popped it for me yesterday, and I wasn't really sure why. I still not sure why, but they want me to explain it to you. So there was a person that I used to date a few years ago, and not exclusively, but we dated. And he told me fucked up shit he did, like, straight up. But I never had bad energy toward him. I never felt anything negative toward him and shit like this. And what Spirit kind of told me yesterday, and I know somebody needs to hear this, was we need to not always rely on our feelings or our intuition for stuff like that, where we're not feeling something either way, so we're just thinking it's good. We also need to look at patterns. We also need to look at things that aren't in alignment with us and stop relying on that, because sometimes we're blocked from feeling their energy because we're supposed to go through situations with them. But sometimes it's because we need to see that just because we're not feeling something is wrong, it doesn't mean it isn't. And that's a lot of times a trauma that we need to heal. With him, I mean, like, I could tell you, if I told you some of the shit that he told me he did in the past, people would probably be like, why the fuck would you date him? And when I question it now, I'm like, why the fuck did I date him? Like, why did I even entertain this person at all? Because I'm not even going to get into it, because I'm not even trying to be in that energy right now, but not good shit, just not good shit. And it's like now that was probably like 3.5 years. It was a while, maybe 4, actually it was probably like 4 years ago. Now knowing who I am, like, the fact that I even did that, I'm like, I can almost feel like nausea. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm like, I like want to throw up. It's disgusting. But it's not always that feeling, because back then what I would do is I would go on, what do I intuitively feel? Well, I'm not feeling anything bad, even though very clearly and very obviously this shit is behavior. He didn't do it to me, but it was shit he did in the past that is definitely fucking problematic. So like that type of shit, where we need to stop ignoring behaviors and things like that just because we're not intuitively feeling like there's a problem. We're seeing it, and we need to stand on our own and our own power. So some of you guys, it's not just looking for like angel signs. It's not just looking for like angel numbers to guide you forward. It's also looking at, I'll give you like kind of what they're saying is like, some of you are in relationships with people. It might be romantic, it might be friendship, it might be family, it could be bosses or coworkers, and you don't energetically feel negative toward them. You don't feel that discomfort like you do with some other people. Sometimes Spirit blocks you because you are supposed to go through something and learn something on your own. If it's obvious they're cheating on you, even if you don't have the signs, but you know they're cheating on you and you intuitively feel that, they're disrespecting you. They're not doing the things that you need. Like, they're not giving you, you've had this conversation with them a million times and like they're still doing shit like that. It's like, why are you staying there? Just because you're not feeling the heaviness, just because you're not feeling that push away like you do with certain people where you're like, ooh, I can't talk to that person. I know they're horrible, or there's something really wrong and don't trust them. Just because you're not feeling that doesn't mean that you should be staying in those situations. This is where empowering yourself also comes into play, that like you're a co-creator in your life. So it's looking at, is this somebody that's actually good for me, or is this somebody who's not? And like I said, this can be family. You know, one of the big things they're saying right now, especially family patterns, which they brought this up right before I did the reading, so I'll give you that message too, is when people are constantly trying to control you, manipulate you, bring you down and things like that, it doesn't matter if you feel that disconnect energy. It doesn't matter if you feel a pulling toward them, because sometimes that pulling toward them is a trauma. There's a difference between a soft, loving energy of pulling versus a heavy, intense pulling. If it's a heavy, intense, doesn't feel good in your body pulling, it's trauma. The message they gave me before this to talk about, they were saying it with the October reading, but I guess we're not doing that right now. So maybe if I remember, I'll bring it up in that one too. But about a lot of us are ending attachment styles. We're seeing where our attachment styles are like deeply rooted, and we're seeing the stuff at a deeper level. So a lot of people are starting to understand where that is. But what Spirit's saying is some of you guys are kind of like lingering and holding on, even though you know somebody is like a trauma, even though you know that you're trying to fix something from your childhood through this person, you're still holding on to them. So it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, could be a romantic relationship, could be a friendship, coworker. When you have the awareness to it, this is where you have to stand in your power and you work through it and you go, as much as I feel this energy or connection, I think the problem is a lot of times we feel intense energy toward them. So we think it's a connection, but it's not actually a connection. It's literally our inner child attaching to them and like not wanting to let go, because once we let go of that, now we have a totally different pattern. Our inner child's like, I don't know how the fuck to handle this. I don't know what to do because I'm unsafe, because this is not anything I've experienced before. So now I have no coding to tell me how to fucking proceed, you know, that type of stuff. So really like being honest with yourself, is this something that's good for me or not? And then make those choices and empower yourself. Okay, we got success, ask for help from others, let go. All right, so what I'm getting from Spirit is this is you guys kind of getting the validation, getting the messages, and really going into your energy and seeing what it is I want and freeing yourself from the past. It's like freeing yourself from especially the attachment issues, but freeing yourself from all of these things that are really holding you back. Like they're just saying freedom, like really freeing yourself so you can uplift your energy, seeing what is weighing you down right now and how you can shift that or what you can release so you can actually be free from this. Because it feels like a lot of people are ending cycles right now. And as you do it, it can be very confusing. It can be very scary. You're not totally sure what to do, like you know what to do, but then you kind of question like, am I making the right choice, am I not, things like that. But Spirit's saying like, we are here with you and for you. Ask us for help. We're helping you let go and release this. Like it doesn't feel, whoever this group is I'm channeling for, it doesn't feel like you're going to go backwards at all. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like even if your thoughts are kind of going backwards or shit like that, you're not actually going backwards. Like I don't get that at all. I get you guys are actually breaking free in some way, like, and Spirit's guiding you to break free, and you're going to actually break free of this cycle. And as I say that, I almost feel this like kind of sense of relief energy. This one? Okay. Hold on. All right. Ooh. Yeah? Okay. I don't know if you saw those two pop like a motherfucker. They're like... I'm like, sometimes if they don't actually fly out though, I'm like, do you want me to pull it or no? Like that. Okay. Just this one. I'm just curious. I'm just curious what the cards are underneath. Like that. Okay. I always say I'm nosy, but I'm not really nosy. I'm actually just curious. Because I think the difference, I think there is a difference. Like, I think people are nosy or just like trying to get into people's drama and business for like not necessarily the best intentions. For me, the curiosity is I like to see what happens to people, and I get excited for people when they have good experiences and stuff. So, okay, we got the Lovers and Empress. some of you, Spirit is saying, is like the angels, I should say, are saying like, when you get into a place of empowerment and self-love and you move forward and choose yourself, that's when it actually comes in. Like, it might seem counterintuitive a lot of times. Oh, they're giving me this weird ass example, but I'm going to explain it to you. And look at that. The card that was just kind of sticking out the top is Queen of Ariel, where she is just like in her fucking energy. Sometimes it seems counterintuitive when you do the opposite. That what you want actually comes in. And I was watching this video yesterday of this, it was a deer biting like a person, like it's their farm, and somebody was saying like we pull and it actually makes it worse on us. They say if you push into it, which seems counterintuitive, right? Like you're putting yourself in the storm, it actually makes them release it so you can get your arm out and stuff. And the reason I say that is because what we're always taught isn't always true. So sometimes it's releasing people in situations to allow what we want to come in. And sometimes that person or situation needs that in order for things to adjust. But we have to sometimes let go of control. More so it feels like this letting go of control and releasing that control and not trying to force things, rush things, chase things. And once you actually sit with it and you don't chase and you don't rush and all of that, you're actually healing your attachment wounds. You're actually healing your trauma doing that, even though it feels a little bit uncomfortable doing it. And it feels kind of wrong because you're not used to it. So it might feel really heavy as you're doing it. But intuitively, you know it's right. And once you release the control of a person or situation, you're going to see what happens. And it's either that person steps up because it's actually meant to step up, or that person leaves so another person can step in. So just trust it. Like, you already know the answers anyway. You're always given the answers at the beginning, especially the light workers. We're always given the fucking answers in the beginning of every situation, especially relationship shit. If you ever look at romantic relationships, are perfect for this. Teenage ones are a little bit more, like they're a little bit harder to decipher because you got all this other shit going on. But any adult relationship you've ever been in romantically, in the beginning, you always know this isn't the person for me, or this is the person for me. Yeah, you go through a lot of ego bullshit, but you always know the answer in the beginning. Something always tells you the answer. Whether it's that person or spirit or yourself, something always tells you the answer. It's not listening to the ego, it's trusting the inner knowing. Okay, we got Knight of Raphael, decision, 10 of Gabriel. That's the exact message I just gave, was the decisions. So I'm not going to say this as romantic, even though it says committed romantic relationships, like kind of coming in. We're going to just kind of leave this very general, because I do feel like some relationships are coming in, but we're going to like leave alone that type of shit. Leave that type of shit alone. I feel like I mix my words up so much. It more so, what I'm getting from Spirit is just this very general energy of something that you love, something that's heart-centered, something you desire is coming in. It feels like it's coming in very passionately. It feels like it's coming in very loving and soft. So when you think about love energy, it's usually very nurturing and soft. There's an element of peace there. Sometimes tough love, there's still that element of nurturing and peace, because internally, even when somebody's giving you tough love in a respectful way, you can feel it's because they care, and you can feel that empathy and you can feel that love. So what they're saying is like and they're showing me the word romantic. So for some of you, it will be romance, but for some of you, it's like you're focusing on romance, and while you're focusing on that, something else is going to come in. Like something else that you kind of desire below the surface, but it almost feels like you won't even know it. Like it almost feels like out of the blue and unexpected, because you think, nope, okay, hold on, let me figure out how to intentionally say this. For some people, I'm going to say it romantic because that's the way it's coming, but you can replace that with anything because it's not that for everybody. You desire a romantic relationship, so a lot of times that's where your focus goes. But there's something below the surface that your inner child really desires, but you never really acknowledge or face that or kind of see that what you want, because your focus is always on this other desire. So whatever this is under the surface that you don't really even know about is what's going to kind of come in for you. Some of you, it might be the romance. Some of you, it might be both together. But it's going to click for you. Whenever it clicks for you, whenever it happens, it's going to click for you if this message is for you. And when it happens, you're going to know it and you're going to like almost cry and be like, holy shit. Like that's what it feels like. Like something, it's almost like something that you desired, but like you hid from yourself because you thought it wasn't possible. And it is possible. This definitely feels like for the feminines. The masculines, it might apply to you too, but it definitely feels like for the feminines really strongly. With this decisions and 10 of Gabriel, are we not getting the exact same messages? Release yourself from that which holds you back. Unnecessary worry based on a lack of self-confidence. And then you got ask your angels for helpful people to lighten your load. Trying or working too many hours, trying too hard to please others. So this is what I was saying before. This is pretty much the same message I already said. This is freeing yourself from people, situations, things that are holding you back. And this people-pleasing energy is kind of that attachment, what you've kind of learned, your conditioning, shit like that. And it's like you liberating and freeing yourself from that. And I'm not sure the order of that. I'm not sure if you're going to be doing this first and then this comes in, or this is going to come in to help you do that. It might be different for everybody. They're not really kind of saying it like that. Okay. Oh, we got these other two cards. I totally forgot about these. Okay. We got Queen of Raphael. Queen Raphael, Archangel Raphael, is a lot of times like love is a lot of times like love, health, things like that. But I'm just getting a lot of like love energy. But love doesn't always mean romantic, guys. Like love also is kindness toward yourself and others too, you know, like being more understanding. And I said understanding, and then literally I just looked at the card and said understanding and kind. So it's also doing things with empathy, understanding other people, being kind to other people, seeing people going through a situation and supporting and loving them in the right ways. So with the Queen of Raphael, they want me to read the bottom to you. Follow your heart, a love of home and family, trustworthy psychic information. So they're saying like, look, you already got the trust your intuition card. Now they're validating it even more that the information you're getting, you know, is true. You know, you're following your heart. You know, you're leading with your heart. Whew, okay, hold on. So I had talked about this in the September reading, and I had specifically said there was a date I've been getting all year. I actually got this date last year, and something happened last year that it keeps bringing it up back this year. And I didn't want to talk about the date, but it's September 27th. And so when they give me dates for me, specifically, I always know something's going to happen, or they're giving me the date to pay attention because there's a strong ass message that's coming in. And so I remember a few things happened that day, but I remember that morning I looked at and I was like, oh, it's the 27th today. But I usually just let that shit go because I never know what it is. In my head, I always try to like make it like I want it to be this. And I've been disappointed so many times that I go, all right, we're done doing that. We're done trying to fucking hope it's this. We're going to let it be whatever it is. And we know it's going to be important. This is one of the things they said, and it literally is the Queen of Raphael card. There is a situation that below the surface, I was worried that it was going to be the same type of situation with like my dad. And I kind of had a little awareness to this deeper feeling, but I didn't really pay attention to it too much. It wasn't something that I felt was very significant at a conscious level. But below the surface, there were so many fears that everything I was doing out of the same trauma with my dad. And even though, you know, I was trying my hardest to do things different with like intention and stuff than before, I still felt like because a lot of this is mirroring the past that I'm making the wrong choice. And on the 27th, I almost want to cry. I can't cry though. But on the 27th, I got this message really strong. I mean, when they pop some of them into me, they're so strong. I don't even question them because I can just feel how like true it is. And it was, you're not making the wrong choice. You're actually leading and following with your heart. And the reason you're struggling with it so much is because you're doing the opposite with the conditioning, but you're seeing intentions. You're seeing that even though some of it is mirroring, it's not actually the same thing, and you're healing. But to me, it's been so difficult and it's been so hard that I feel like, am I just constantly making the wrong choice? And they literally said, all the visions you've had are going to come true. Like you just You're leading with your heart this time, and that's what you're doing. You're not leading with your trauma, you're leading with your heart. And that's exactly, for the people who are struggling with that, that's exactly what this card is you are leading with your heart, and you know you are. And sometimes when you're doing that, it's really fucking scary, especially when things mirror trauma from the past and you have the awareness to it. But a lot of times there's this conditioning element to it, and you're releasing that. With this, Spirit is saying, have patience with yourself and those around you. Says it right there, and then the top of it says a challenge you can resolve. So what it feels like is, you guys, whatever this is, this heart-centered thing, it might be, one thing or more than one thing. Whatever this is, you're getting pieces of the puzzle along the way. Trust them. Like, if you're leading with your heart, you're always making the right choice. If you're doing things with the intention, the best intention for you in the moment, and you're doing things with the knowledge that you have now, then you're always making the right choice. Just because we had like something happen in the past where we didn't always make the best choices, but we did make the best choice for what we knew then. And even if we were in relationships, or we were in jobs, or we were in places where we were doing things out of trauma, we were still trying to do what was best for us, because we were trying to heal that. We were trying to get love. We were trying to do things. Now a lot of us are in this energy where we're empowered, where we feel more independent, where we have the awareness to our choices. So we're doing things with more intention. We're asking more questions to ourselves, like, am I making the right choice? In the past, we didn't do that. We were just kind of doing things because we were trying to, subconsciously keep reliving our trauma, because we were trying to heal it. And now we're doing those things actively. So even if you're struggling with it, I'm going to be honest with you, you're supposed to be struggling with it. There's a reason you're struggling with it, and it's because you're feeling all the conflict from the past. You're healing all the present moment. You're healing all those past conflicts where you didn't make choices that are aligned with the version of you now. So old version of you and new version are in conflict, but that's why it's difficult. You're always going to move forward though. Like, don't worry about the past. You're always going to move forward. All right. I pulled a few cards, but I feel like I need to pull like one or two more. Here we go. 2. Okay. So we got reflection on the bottom with trust and spiritual gifts. For some of you, it's trusting in the messages you're getting. They come in very different than your thoughts. They sound like thoughts a lot of times. Like if you're, a clairvoyant? Whatever, stupid. I don't fucking care about words. I think it's clairvoyant, but like when you hear the thoughts in your head, yeah, because clairsentient is like clear knowing. So when I get messages in different ways. Sometimes I get them where I just know it and I just say it, and there's no thought or anything that comes in. I just say it. It's just clear knowing. Sometimes I hear them talk to me. Sometimes like angels, spirit guides, spirits, higher, source, whatever. Sometimes I can feel the energy in my body. Or I can feel somebody else's energy. Like if I'm talking to somebody or doing a reading for somebody, I can feel their energy and what they're experiencing as I'm talking to them or as they're receiving the message, and like that type of stuff. So it depends on what your gift is or what you're doing to help other people. It will feel different, but self-awareness is key. And when you know that you're getting a message, trust it. Don't try to analyze it. Spirit's like lately been having me help people who have come in that are needing the guidance to help with their spiritual gifts. And one of the things I noticed is people will get a very direct message and they try to analyze it. Stop trying to analyze it. Say, if you have a message for somebody, say directly the way you received it. Because when you're trying to interpret it, you're interpreting it from your perception of what you think, and that's not the message. And so somebody I was working with was doing that, and I go, I can feel, because I can feel them. So I can feel when you're thinking, I can feel when you're channeling, and I can feel when you're doing the shit you're doing. And it's like, stop. What were the words that directly came in? She tells me, she goes, but I don't feel that way. I go, but that's not the point. You're saying that because you're channeling somebody else and you're giving me the message I need to hear, not your interpretation of it. I go, so don't do that. And she tried to do it, and she did it a few times. I go, no, what was the direct words that you received? You don't need to interpret or analyze it because you're uncomfortable with not knowing. Give the person the direct message that you receive and stop trying to analyze it. You give people wrong messages when you do that. You give them based on you and what you think it means versus what it actually means. Give it direct. If they misunderstand the message, they'll understand it when they're supposed to. That's happened to me before. Spirit's given me messages before, and I took it the way I wanted to take it until They told me the way I needed to take it, but I needed to learn it the way I needed to learn it to go through what I needed to go through. We always do that. So trust in your spiritual gifts, guys. When you have them, trust them. Like, don't keep trying to like push them away, and don't keep trying to say you don't have them. Be confident. You can sit there and say, like, which we got the confidence card too, and I think this relates to the fears and confidence card that came out. Like, you can sit and say, look, like, I'm just now becoming aware of my gifts. This is the message I received. I don't really know what it means. And then just see how the other person, just being direct and honest about it. But you don't have to sit there and dumb yourself down and sit there and keep yourself small and be like, oh, I don't have gifts. I don't know what they are. Okay, but you know you're getting messages, but you know you're feeling things. So you don't have to understand it and have clarity. Just communicate that with yourself and other people and say, okay, yeah, I know I just got this message. I don't know what it means though. Just be honest with yourself. Stop saying you don't fucking have them, okay? I mean that with love, obviously. I know you guys know that. We got trust and reflection. So a lot of you guys are working on trust issues with yourself and other people, but in Spirit's very specifically saying with yourself. Where you're not trusting others, you're not trusting you. So if you're not trusting somebody in your life, it's because they're either not supposed to be in your life, and you know that, so you're not making decisions for you, and you're not trusting in your intuition or what you know to get them the fuck out of your life. For some of you, it feels like you do have people who are trustworthy and you know you can trust them, but they're helping you reflect your trauma. Totally different things, and you can tell the difference because even though you have the fears and thoughts that you can't trust them, internally you know you can. Totally different things. So I'm not going to explain that more. You guys will take that the way you need to take it and the way you need to like interpret that for yourself. But yeah, okay. We got fears, confidence, shadows, peace. I love this because we have the full moon and look at all this trust, fears, shadows, which is all about healing, seeing things. So with this fears and confidence, what Spirit's saying is we're told, oh, we should be confident in this, we should be confident in this, we should be empowered and all this shit. We should always be doing what's best for us. So this is what I was saying with the communication is you don't always have to be confident, but it doesn't mean you have to run away from your fears. It's taking the first step and doing it. Why do you have to be fully confident to do something? Why do you have to be fully confident to take a leap of faith? You don't. The only thing you need to do is trust that you're doing that because you want to do that and it's going to work out the way it's supposed to, and you're going to either succeed in it or you're going to learn what you need to learn. You're not going to fail because failure is a fucking joke and it's not even a real thing. You're going to learn something and it's going to direct you where it needs to direct you. There's no failure. You know, like I notice a lot of people lately where they're like, but I'm scared of failing. And I always ask, like, what is I don't believe in failing. So this is why I say this. What is failure? And I look up the definition because me being me, I'm like, all right, I need to fucking understand why people think this way. I get the trauma part of it, but I don't understand the why do I stop myself from doing stuff because I'm afraid of failure. That part I understand from what people have told me, but I don't understand it. Because I just don't think that way and I don't feel things that way. So it's like, I'm scared to do something because it's not going to succeed in the way I want it to. So it's the same thing with a relationship, starting a business, whatever it is. So you want the relationship to end up being long-term. It doesn't work out because there was something you need to learn. There was something you need to heal, whatever. You already know that in the beginning of those relationships, if they're going to work out or not. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. We all know them, whether we acknowledge it to ourselves or not. But did you not grow and learn from that? It's the same thing with starting a business. Like, okay, so it didn't work out. Like, it didn't stay long-term. It didn't explode like the way you wanted it to. What did you learn? What did you grow? What information did you pick up that's bringing you on the path that needs to bring you on to where you need to go? You know, like, I had an old friend that, you know, I have my psychology degree, and she literally said to me when I was opening my business, and she said something to me about, well, your degree was a waste. How the fuck was my degree a waste? Yeah, I'm still paying on it because I had to go to school for 4 years. Well, technically 5 because I extended some of it. But like, how was that a waste? I had 10 years experience. When people come into the shop and they start talking to me about their mental health and I'm like, no, that's not true. Nope, that's not true. They believe me because intuitively they know I'm telling them the truth, but their human mind doesn't. And when I go, I have a bachelor in psychology and I have 10 years experience in the social work mental health field, they go, oh, okay, I can trust her. How the fuck is that a waste? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's giving you the piece of the puzzle you need for whatever you're going to be doing in the future. It always does that. You might not understand it at the time, but it always does that. So where's failure? It's not real. So if you're holding yourself back because you're afraid of failing, there's no fucking failing. Stop holding on to that as a way to not do what you want because you're scared to do what you want. Like you're scared to actually like liberate yourself. And I don't mean going and doing, for me, when it comes to shit, I don't really care about, I have fear about stuff, but I don't really fucking go into that. More so for me is like physical stuff. I'm going to get injured because I don't feel like injuring myself. Like I had a concussion, I had to depend on somebody driving me around and doing stuff for me, and I don't like that lack of independence. I don't do that type of stuff that makes me physically sick or where I'm going to injure myself. But to me, that's not even necessary anyway in life. So like, it's not even shit I want to do if I'm going to be honest. But like when it comes to, you know, whatever, I quit my fucking job a year ago and I opened my business a little bit over 2 years ago. That was scary as fuck. Like people, I get this all the time. People are like, you're so extroverted. You're so this. I go, no, the fuck I'm not. And people who really know me know I'm like introverted as fuck. I'm like socially awkward. I'm introverted as fuck. When you see me in my element, I'm confident in my element. I'm confident when I'm doing readings because I trust myself when I'm doing readings. And I also don't have people looking back at me. I'm looking at myself. You know what I mean? Like it's a totally different thing. I was so scared when I started the page. It took me 5 months to even post. After I created this page, the Gaia page on Facebook, I think I created it in July. I think my first post was in November. I remember because I put it down on my phone because I was like, wait, something happened with the date. And then they reminded me. And then I was like, ooh, let me keep track of this so I can be proud of myself. But like putting myself out there and doing a video was so hard. Being vulnerable about trauma was so hard, but it pushed me to grow and look at how many people it helped. And I can tell you with 100% confidence that when I'm confident in my gifts and I empower other people, they're empowered. People are scared to be like, I have spiritual gifts. And I'm like, why? And I have so much confidence with myself that when I'm talking to you, it's giving you your own, I'm not giving you confidence. You're saying it's okay to be confident. That's probably the best way to say it. So it's like, yeah, it's scary as fuck. But if that didn't happen, look at how many people wouldn't have gotten the messages they needed and it wouldn't have helped them. You know what I mean? So it's like, as much as you're afraid, you're also helping other people too. And that's not the reason you should be doing it. But some of us, it makes it easier for us to do shit if we know we're going to help people. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Like Spirit was like, well, you're going to help other people. And I was like, fuck, fine. That's the only reason I did it is because they told me that. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done it. If it was just for me, I'm not even going to lie, I wouldn't have done it probably. The crystal store I wanted. And I was excited because I love crystals. And I love being able to share that with people. And I love business too. So like, for me, that was exciting. So it was scary as fuck though. It reminded me of like when I was in school. And I remember, because I only opened the store like 4 days later and I was so busy. And so pretty much the only marketing I really had for the opening weekend, because like I said, it was only like 4 days later, was just like on my personal page and on my crystal page that I had started from just selling out of my house, which, you know, obviously was not very often or very long. Like it was only a few months of me doing that. And like my first weekend I think it was at least, I don't remember, but I know my first day I did more than like my rent for the month. So, but I remember that night going to sleep and I was like, what if nobody comes in? What if nobody likes my store and all this stuff? And when I look at the pictures of it, I go, God, I barely had anything. And I look now and I'm like, I have so many more shelves. Like my fucking shelves are stuffed. I have a whole, you know, room full of crystals and stuff like that. And it's like, but imagine if I didn't do that because I was scared. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't be like living my dream. I wouldn't have the flexibility I have. Wouldn't have the freedom I have. You know, having this also gives me the opportunity to heal more because I have more flexibility and freedom where I don't feel like I'm constantly fighting stuff. So it's taking the leap of faith and doing what you want and trusting it's all going to work out. Okay. With the shadows and peace. Oof, this feels good. Like not good, but good. Okay, hold on. With this shadows card, a lot of you guys are going through trauma stuff. A lot of you are, I definitely get a huge amount of people going through father trauma, like father releasing, masculine wound releasing, men and women, masculine wound releasing, father issues. The feminine feels like she's going through father healing. So like trauma with her father and then her own masculine wounds where she was trying to put her walls up, trying to control things, trying to lead because she was scared to surrender and trust somebody else. So the feminines might still be struggling with that. The masculines, it almost feels like the opposite, where they try to control things, but in a feminine way. They're trying to control things, because they don't want to be controlled. So it's like they're putting a wall up around their emotions so they don't have, like they're saying, suppressing emotions so they don't have to be like vulnerable with them. But it also feels like the masculine's looking at how his father or his father figure was and seeing how he doesn't want to be that way, but he actually I can't talk. He actually has been almost exactly like his dad in a lot of ways. And he doesn't like the way his dad maybe was to his mom or was in a relationship, but he's doing the exact same shit. And he doesn't want to be doing the same shit, but yet he keeps feeling compelled to do the same shit. So a lot of the masculines are going through that too. I get a lot of awareness is coming right now. And I love, like I said, because the full moon was last night. Today's Monday. You know, I record these and then they upload 2 or 3 days later. So it's Monday the 10th, 10/10. And no, I don't believe in portals and all that bullshit. I'm so sick of hearing that word. I want to like literally comment on every spiritual person that's like, today's a 10/10 portal, and go, what's a portal? What's a portal? Because y'all just throw a word around it and you act like it's something and you don't even know what the fuck you're saying. You just say it. Is 10/10 a significant energetic day? Yeah, but like we should be doing things with intention instead of following the fucking crowd so we can get likes and subscribers and make money. Like, I can't stand that shit. It's so annoying. And I will say I used to have a problem saying stuff like that because I was like, oh, are people going to think I'm a bitch? Or are people going to think I'm just trying to like cut people down, or you think I know everything? No, I'm saying shit with intention of my fucking truth, and that's good enough, and I'm not worrying about it. If you have a problem with it, then don't watch my shit. Like, it is what it is. I want to say tomato. It is what it is. I love tomatoes, so it is what it is. But anyway, it feels like, yeah, this full moon is definitely they're just saying awareness, like a lot of awareness or trauma healing. And I keep seeing this releasing, like the shackles kind of being pulled off, and it's going to bring you inner peace. Like, are you going to still have emotions and, you know, situations that come up? Of course. But you're going to handle them different because you're starting to get to the deeper rooted areas of where you're seeing how your trauma and your attachments and all of these things or have been dictating the choices you make. And as you keep getting, like they're showing me the 5 of Gabriel card, as you keep getting pieces of the puzzle, you're making different choices. So and they're showing me the turtle, like we're doing this slow and steady wins the race. We're doing this slowly so you can naturally do it so it's not too much and overwhelming for you. And if you look back at how you used to handle things, you're going to see your emotions are a lot different. You're a lot more calm. You're not as reactive. You go, okay, I'm triggered right now. What is this teaching me? What's going on with my feelings? And I'm not projecting it as much on somebody else. And when you look, you're realizing you're not freaking the fuck out about, you know, fears and triggers and shit coming in. You're learning how to handle yourself a lot better. So a lot of that's coming up, and that's going to bring you peace because you're going to have so much internal strength and so much internal empowerment that you're going to, even if you don't know how to make a decision, you're going to sit with it until you're able to, or you're going to let it go and say, it's not the right time. When I have the clarity, I'll know, and you'll be able to distance from that. So anyway, this is an awesome reading. I'm really excited about this. I don't know. Angels were like, we want to come out and talk today. So I'm like, all right, cool. I feel like a lot of the reason they wanted to do that is because of the spiritual gifts more than anything, I feel like, and the trust part of it. So anyway, I hope that it helped. And I'm probably going to do the October reading. It might just be like a short one of kind of what to expect and what's going on, but not like as long as the other one last month was. So I hope that this helps. And if you guys do want to book a reading, message me on Instagram, Facebook, or the link in my bio. My crystal stuff's on there too if you like crystals. But I'm just going to say it real quick. A lot of people have asked, like, how do readings go? Like this. I don't pull cards though when I do like the psychic readings. I don't pull cards. You can ask questions or I give you what spirit has. But I always tell people, like, when you're doing a reading, you want to come in with intention. Like, you don't have to, but like, what's the point of booking a reading if you're not trying to get guidance or something, like you're stuck with something or whatever? Like, doing a reading to just do a reading, you're going to probably hear shit. They're never going to give you something you're not prepared for. You're probably going to hear shit and it's not going to be as fun as you probably think it is. So whatever. All right. Hope you guys all have an awesome day.